Andy Puzder, the fast food CEO who Trump wanted for labor secretary, has now backed out of the job. He said, you know what, withdraw my name, I'm not interested in this. So apparently what tanked him is hiring an undocumented immigrant. I think in this case it was an undocumented immigrant to do, work around his house. There was also an old accusation from his ex-wife that resurfaced. Apparently she went on Oprah at one point and accused him of abuse. Now she's since rescinded that, but when the tape came out, apparently that was too much for a bunch of Republican senators and they flipped. So you didn't need that many Republican senators to flip, and enough flipped where they were like, you know what? Okay, not this guy. So it is kind of weird, though, that you have President Donald Trump who said, I grab him by the pussy, I don't even wait. You have all the issues with him, where kind of an admitted sexual assaulter. And again, because, believe it or not, people actually push back against that point. The problem isn't that he said, I grabbed them by the pussy. It's that he said, I don't even wait. Now, at a different time, he said, when you're a star, they let you do whatever you want to do. But if you said you don't even wait, then how do you know that they let you do whatever you want to do? So, and then there were interviews with many of these women, and they were like, yeah, no, I didn't want him to do that, and he did it. So, to me, that's pretty clear that that's sexual assault, and he was able to just get away with it. Now, there were old accusations from his wife of sexual assault as well, from one of his ex-wives. So, it's crazy that Trump manages to get away with it, but, Puzder's, everybody's like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. It's like there's a different standard for Trump, or he somehow overrides it somehow. Don't ask me how, but he's somehow able to get away with it. But so I'm really happy that he's out. But what bothers me is what wasn't considered disqualifying. Because there's a bunch of stuff about him that's disqualifying that everybody was just like, oh, that's cool. Like, I have no problem with that. But hiring an undocumented immigrant, oh boy, man. That is not cool, man. So, for example, here are things that I thought were completely and utterly disqualifying. He's obsessed with Ayn Rand. I think he wrote a short book or something, or an essay or whatever, that was kind of praising Ayn Rand's philosophy and agreeing with Ayn Rand's philosophy. Now, it's one thing, if you're going through your awkward teenager phase and you got pimples on your face and you're a chronic masturbator and you like Ayn Rand, that's fine. I think every political and economic intellectual who eventually, is a political junkie, I think everybody goes through their Ayn Rand phase at one point, where you read it and you go, that's right, selfishness is moral. But then eventually you grow out of that phase and you realize the flaw in that thinking. But the crazy thing is there are so many people who haven't graduated past that, and they really still believe that wholeheartedly. And, Andy Puzder is just a perfect example of that. So that I thought was disqualifying. You want to be obsessed with Ayn Rand and go into a different field? Whatever. I still don't agree with you that you're obsessed with her, but okay, there are fields where you could be obsessed with Ayn Rand and it's not a big issue. But when you want to be fucking labor secretary, you can't be obsessed with Ayn Rand. He also wants to move towards full automation. Now, look, at some point, maybe that is inevitable, and there is going to be full automation no matter what we try to do to stave it off. But to have a labor secretary who's open to it and who's willing to put the pedal to the metal in that direction means that the labor secretary is not going to look out for workers. So we would have a labor secretary who's against labor. That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. So that I found disqualifying. He doesn't believe in unions. He's against raising the minimum wage. He was sued when he was a fast food CEO for not giving workers sufficient breaks. I've heard all I need to hear. He's also against paid sick leave. So, this is a guy who's got a draconian, far-right belief system. And this is not the kind of person we need for labor secretary. So, but all of those things, everybody was like, yeah, what do you mean? He's just a conservative Republican, and this is what it is. No, but in other modern nations, these things are considered disqualifying. They go, oh, you want to be labor secretary and you're against paid sick leave? Step the fuck aside, you idiot. But here they go, that's totally fine. If you get sick, he doesn't want you to be able to take time off. I don't see what the problem is. But oh my God, he hired an undocumented immigrant. How dare he? So it just bugs me that, and this is I always talk about this with the media too, how their moral compass is broken. It's like the moral compass is broken here. The outrage meter is off, where all the outrage is saved for shit like that. You hired an undocumented immigrant, but there's no outrage for I'm against the minimum wage. Like, what the fuck? I don't get it. I don't get it. And, you know, same thing with Trump. We have to take out their families. We have to take out their families. He said it on fucking national TV. And what happened? Nothing. Media barely covered it. But God forbid there's a video where you put together a compilation of him cursing and saying the word fuck. Oh, clutch your pearls. We are so scared and so mad, to the point where even other Republicans ran ads against him. Like, tisk, tisk, look, he uses foul language. The motherfucker just said he wants to kill civilians. Who cares? He said fuck, and I'm outraged. So I think I'm hopeful, because I think the new generation, like I think millennials kind of get it, which explains the popularity not only of my show, but of other shows that are similar. I think they get it, that you have to be outraged at things that it makes sense to be outraged at. Like, I think millennials are actually outraged by people who want to keep wages low. I think they're actually outraged by people who are against universal health care. I think they're actually outraged by people who want to restrict social freedoms and want to ban gay marriage and not legalize marijuana. So I think millennials get it, but man, these dinosaurs that are in control now, it's just a totally different framework and way of thinking, and it's a way of thinking that you and I find stupid, because the reality is, it's pretty stupid.